This is a ballistic missile, and this is a cruise missile. What's the difference? A ballistic missile shoots high into the sky, then falls back down onto its target. A cruise missile stays low the whole time, engine running the entire way to impact. The Tomahawk is your classic cruise missile. The Minuteman III? That's a ballistic missile. Here's the twist. A cruise missile can change direction mid-flight. A ballistic missile mostly just falls, following its arc.
This is the Navy, and this is the Coast Guard. What's the difference? The Navy exists to defend the country from military threats at sea. The Coast Guard's job is maritime law, search and rescue, and keeping coastal waters secure. So when a ship goes down near the US coast, it's the Coast Guard that leads the rescue, not the Navy. Here's the twist. During wartime, the US Coast Guard can legally get folded into the Navy under US law.
This is a sniper, and this is a designated marksman. What's the difference? A sniper usually works alone or in a small team on a specific mission, hitting targets from extreme range. A designated marksman stays embedded with the squad, providing precise fire at medium to long range as the fight happens around them. That's why a lot of infantry squads today have their own designated marksman. No need to call in a whole sniper team. Here's the twist. A designated marksman isn't some junior sniper. It's a completely different role.
This is a Marine, and this is an Army Ranger. What's the difference? The Marines are their own branch, built for amphibious assaults and expeditionary missions. Army Rangers are an elite infantry unit inside the Army, trained for special operations. During the 2003 Iraq invasion, Army Rangers helped secure key routes, while the Marines led major amphibious and ground assaults. Here's the twist. Every Ranger is an Army soldier, but not every Army soldier can become a Ranger.
This is a stealth fighter, and this is a stealth bomber. What's the difference? A stealth fighter's job is to win in the air, plane against plane. A stealth bomber's job is to sneak past enemy defenses and hit strategic targets on the ground. The F-22 is your stealth fighter. The B-2 Spirit, that's your stealth bomber. Here's the twist. Stealth doesn't mean invisible. It just means way harder for radar to pick up.
This is a drone, and this is a loitering munition. What's the difference? A drone gets reused for scouting, for strikes again and again. A loitering munition is one and done. It circles around, finds a target, and blows itself up on impact. In the Russia-Ukraine war, both are everywhere, just used for completely different jobs. Here's the twist. Everyone calls loitering munitions kamikaze drones, but technically, they're their own weapon category, not actual drones.
This is a missile, and this is a rocket. What's the difference? A missile can steer itself toward a target after launch. A rocket? Once it's fired, that's it. No guidance, no changing course. A javelin missile can literally lock onto its target. An artillery rocket just follows whatever arc it was launched on. Here's the twist. A ballistic missile actually flies on rocket power the entire time. But a cruise missile, like the Tomahawk, runs on a jet engine. It's basically flying like a mini airplane, not a rocket.
This is an aircraft carrier, and this is a helicopter carrier. What's the difference? An aircraft carrier launches fighter jets for long-range air power. A helicopter carrier is built to carry choppers and land troops on the ground. A Nimitz-class carrier can hold dozens of fighter jets. A Wasp-class ship exists to support marine landing operations. Here's the twist. Some modern helicopter carriers can actually launch F-35B fighter jets too. The line's getting blurry.
This is a frigate, and this is a corvette. What's the difference? A frigate's mid-sized, made for long patrols and escort missions far from home. A corvette's smaller and sticks closer to the coast, guarding home waters. That's why so many navies use corvettes to patrol their own coastline, while frigates get sent overseas on bigger missions. Here's the twist. There's no global rule book for this. A ship one country calls a corvette might get labeled a frigate somewhere else.
Iron Dome, Patriot. Both intercept threats from the sky, but they're not built for the same fight. What's the difference? Iron Dome is designed for short-range rockets, close-range attacks. Patriot is designed for bigger threats, ballistic missiles, aircraft, long-range stuff. That's why Israel relies on Iron Dome against rocket fire from Gaza, while other countries use Patriot systems against actual missile threats. This is a destroyer, and this is a cruiser. What's the difference? A destroyer's the all-rounder, built to handle threats from the air, the surface, and underwater all at once. A cruiser's bigger, packs more firepower, and usually runs the show as a command ship. Whenever a US carrier heads out, it's destroyers and cruisers riding shotgun, protecting the whole strike group. Here's the twist. The Navy stopped building cruisers altogether.
NATO, the UN. People use these interchangeably. Huge mistake. What's the difference? NATO is a military alliance, countries agreeing to defend each other if one gets attacked. The UN isn't military at all. It's about diplomacy, peacekeeping, and getting nations to cooperate. Best example? After 9/11, NATO triggered Article 5, collective defense, for the first time ever in its history. Here's the twist. Being in the UN doesn't mean you're in NATO. Most UN members actually aren't. Tank, APC. They both look like war machines, but they do completely different jobs. A tank is built to fight, heavy armor, a massive cannon, made for direct combat. An APC, or armored personnel carrier, isn't built to fight. It's built to move soldiers safely across the battlefield. You've seen this play out in Ukraine. Tanks push forward and hit enemy positions, while APCs are the ones actually getting troops to the front line. Here's the twist. Most APCs don't even have a real cannon. No big gun, just armor and speed.
MI5, MI6, same country, completely different jobs. MI5 handles security inside the UK. Think domestic threats, terrorism at home. MI6 operates overseas, gathering intelligence in other countries. So if there's a bomb threat in London, that's MI5. If Britain needs intel from inside another government, that's MI6. Plot twist, James Bond, everyone assumes MI5. He's actually MI6.
FBI, CIA, everyone throws these names around like they're the same thing. They're not. FBI works inside the US, crime, terrorism, domestic security. CIA works outside the US, intelligence gathering, foreign operations. Case in point, after the Boston Marathon bombing in 2013, it was the FBI running the investigation and manhunt, start to finish. Here's the twist, though. The CIA legally can't arrest anyone on US soil. That's not their lane. Only the FBI can do that.
This is a Navy SEAL. This is Delta Force. People mix these up constantly. Here's the actual difference. SEALs belong to the Navy. They're trained for sea, air, and land, hence the name SEAL. Delta Force is Army. Their whole job is counterterrorism and hostage rescue. Quick example, the raid that killed Osama bin Laden? That was SEAL Team 6, not Delta. And here's the twist. Even though they're called SEALs, almost none of their missions actually happen in the water. Most of it's on land.
This is a nuclear submarine. And this is a diesel submarine. What's the difference? A nuclear submarine runs on a nuclear reactor, so it can stay out at sea for ages without refueling. A diesel-electric submarine depends on fuel and batteries, so it has to surface a lot more often. The U.S. Navy runs Virginia-class nuclear submarines for long-range patrols across multiple oceans. Here's the twist. In certain conditions, running on battery power instead of snorkeling, a diesel-electric sub can actually be quieter than a nuclear one.
This is radar, and this is sonar. What's the difference? Radar uses radio waves to detect objects. Sonar uses sound waves, mainly underwater. Submarines rely on sonar to detect other ships lurking beneath the surface. Here's the twist. Radar's basically useless underwater because radio waves lose their strength almost instantly in seawater.
This is a recon vehicle, and this is an APC. What's the difference? A recon vehicle's job is gathering intel and scouting enemy movement. An APC's job is transporting troops with armored protection. Before any major operation kicks off, recon vehicles usually go in first to map out the situation on the ground. Here's the twist. A lot of recon vehicles are deliberately built lighter, specifically so they're harder to detect.
This is a tank, and this is a tank destroyer. What's the difference? A tank's built for all kinds of combat. A tank destroyer has one job, hunting down and killing enemy tanks. In World War II, the US ran the M18 Hellcat specifically as a tank destroyer. Here's the twist. Most modern militaries don't even use tank destroyer as an official vehicle class anymore. This is a main battle tank, and this is a light tank. What's the difference? A main battle tank has maximum armor and firepower, built for the main fight. A light tank trades some of that for speed. It's lighter and way easier to deploy. The M1 Abrams is a main battle tank. The M10 Booker gets called a light tank by the media, though the US Army officially labels it mobile protected firepower instead. Here's the twist. Light doesn't mean weak. Its real advantage is mobility.
This is a mortar, and this is a howitzer. What's the difference? A mortar's a lightweight artillery piece that fires on a steep arc, meant for close to medium range. A howitzer fires much farther, with a lot more destructive power behind it. Mortars usually back up infantry right on the front line, while howitzers strike targets far behind enemy lines. Here's the twist. The biggest mortar ever built actually had a bigger caliber than some howitzers.
This is an RPG, and this is a bazooka. What's the difference? The bazooka's an American rocket launcher from World War II. The RPG's a Soviet-developed rocket-propelled grenade launcher. The RPG-7 is still showing up in conflicts today, while the bazooka got retired from US military service decades ago. Here's the twist. A lot of people call any rocket launcher a bazooka, but that's actually the name of one very specific weapon. This is a javelin, and this is a stinger. What's the difference? The javelin's an anti-tank missile. The stinger's a portable air defense missile made for shooting down aircraft and helicopters. In the Russia-Ukraine war, javelins get used against armored vehicles, while stingers handle threats coming from the sky. Here's the twist. Both can be carried and fired by a single soldier, but they're aiming at completely different targets.
This is a HIMARS, and this is an MLRS. What's the difference? HIMARS is a truck-mounted rocket launcher, which makes it lighter and way faster to move around. MLRS runs on a heavier tracked vehicle with a bigger ammo capacity. In the Russia-Ukraine war, Ukraine used HIMARS to hit Russian ammo depots and command centers from long range. Here's the twist. HIMARS actually carries fewer rockets than MLRS, but it's a lot easier to move and hide.